Foster.
Good evening.
Ganguly.
Good evening.
Graham Hudek.
Good evening.
Let the record reflect that Clerk Segrist is in attendance. Slavens.
Good evening.
Snyderman.
I am present tonight.
Thank you. Can we please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
For which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I would like to entertain a motion to reenact the motion going into closed session on February 8th.
Madam Supervisor, I move to reenact the motion to go into closed session under Section 8H of the Open Meetings Act to discuss information exempt from public disclosure under Section 13(1)G of the Freedom of Information Act, information for or records subject to attorney-client privilege for the meeting on February 8th, 2022.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Segrist, supported by Treasurer Slavens. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I
Does it have
Opposed?
to be a roll call vote for going into
Roll call
closed
for this one?
session?
probably should.
Okay. Do we have any discussion? No? Okay, can I have a roll call vote, please?
Foster.
Aye.
Ganguly.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Slavens.
Aye.
Snyderman.
Aye.
Borninski.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. The next item is to adopt the agenda. We have two additional items. We're going to add item G9, which is consider granting the clerk authority to engage Special Records Counsel, and item G10, consider appointment to the Canton Tax Board of Review.
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Clerk Segrist, supported by Treasurer Slavens. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of February 8th and 15th, 2022?
So moved.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Segrist, supported by Trustee Borninski. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. Now we move on to public comment on agenda items only for this first public comment. So does anyone have any public comment on the agenda items? We also have a public comment at the end of the meeting if you want to save your public comments until then, but any public comment at the beginning? Anyone? No? Okay, thank you. Can I have a motion to pay the bills?
Madam Supervisor, I make a motion that we pay the bills. Support.
Motion made by Treasurer Slavens, supported by Trustee Ganguly. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Great. Our first item on the agenda is a Youth Advisory Council update, and we have them here seated with us. So welcome, welcome. So would you like to start introducing everybody, Chelsea? And then we can begin the program. Do you have anything to share in terms of online documents or? Nope, okay.
Hi, my name is Chelsea Straub, and I oversee the Youth Advisory Council here with Chelsea Murphy. And this year is kind of a rebuilding year. So YAC is in its 20th year of service. And we kind of got together and we decided that they needed a stronger voice in youth development in the community. So one of the initiatives that this board came up with at the very beginning of our program year back in September was to see if we could get a voice with all of you. And we have successfully accomplished that, and this is their first opportunity to speak with you today. So they have prepared a couple of agenda items to talk with you about, and I will turn it over to them.
Good evening. My name is Vibha, and I'm the president of the Youth Advisory Council. And this is Soraya, and she's the vice president. And as Chelsea was mentioning, this year we are we're undergoing our rebuilding year, which means that we're trying to figure out new ways that we can support our community and represent the youth population. One key advancement we wanted to make as a council was to understand what happens at the more logistical and political level in our local government, which is why we proposed speaking at these meetings, which has been graciously accepted by the Board of Trustees. We believe that by participating in these meetings, we can help create an equitable and inclusive environment that will benefit our community in the present and future and will help represent our community to the fullest. We want to speak about issues that are present in our community, such as school safety, and measures that can be taken to prevent what has happened in these past few months and years as a whole. Additionally, we want to share about what initiatives we as a council have taken on, such as our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Board and grant cycle.
Thank you, Reba. And to further elaborate on the grant cycles, the Youth Advisory Council awards grants to youth organizations in the Plymouth-Canton area to both support and to encourage youth involvement in our community. This annual initiative began with a generous endowment from the Kellogg Foundation, and we are proud to be one of the 86 endowed youth funds. And to award these grants, we first distribute applications around Canton to potential recipients. And we suggest that the grant requests range from $100 to $1,000. Beneficiaries of grant funds must serve the Plymouth-Canton area and must be 19 years old or younger. This year we have a total of $1,524 to grant out. And the deadline for this year is on March 4th, 2022. Once the deadline has been reached, we review all the applications we have received and choose which projects to fund and how much to give them based on the extent to which the project addresses needs of the youth, the project's sustainability, and practicality. And finally, on behalf of the entire Youth Advisory Council, we want to convey our deep gratitude for this opportunity to speak at the Board of Trustees meetings. Thank you.
At this point, we invite the board to engage with our youth representatives with any questions or comments you may have.
Start on that. Kate, would you like to ask anything? Stephen?
Thank you. Great presentation. I appreciate you guys coming down. I think I've been on this board for 9 years now, and so I think only one other time I've seen the Youth Council come and present to us. So it's great to have you back, and I'm glad to hear you're rebuilding things. I don't know how long you each have been on it, so maybe Chelsea knows the answer to this, but what are some examples of some of the grants? What have they been used for in the past?
I've been on it for about 2 or 3 years now.
Okay, great.
And I do remember last year we didn't have it because of COVID, but the year before, I believe one of the grants that we awarded was to the Canton Preparatory High School HOSA program to help them fund their supplies. That is the only one I know of, but Chelsea may know of more.
I actually don't. This is my first year working with the YAC, so I do not know their history of grants.
We've done several different types, so we've done a couple different types. Classrooms have requested funds for smart boards for special ed classrooms. Teachers fund a lot of their supplies on their own, and one of the teachers wanted diverse book selections in her elementary classroom, so we helped fund that project for her classroom. We have even supplied sports equipment and uniforms for teams that were in need. So as long as it is serving anyone under the age of 19 in the Plymouth-Canton area, will fund. And again, like she said, a lot of it depends on sustainability, how much the project's going to cost, and those types of things. We've been doing it probably for close to 15 years now, granting out small mini funds.
And is it possible for people to donate to the fund, so in future years? Okay.
Yeah. So through the Local Impact Alliance, Canton Community Foundation, the YAC fund is on the page to be able to donate. And in the years past, the Youth Advisory Council has even held fundraisers, pancake breakfasts, those types of things, bottle drives to continue to put back into the fund.
Thank you.
Even though this is my first year on the Youth Advisory Council, I know that since, like the way Viva said, we did not have, because of COVID, we were not able to grant out any money, and so we have a surplus this year, and I can certainly see the potential that we have for this year. And I do have the applications for the grant cycles right here in my hand, and I wanted to pass this out to you guys, if that's okay.
Sure.
Thank you. That it was really interesting. I am wondering if someone wanted to get involved with the YAC, how would they do that?
I believe every single year we have new applications that go out to join the actual board, but we do allow the public to come in and watch what happens in our meetings, ask questions. In fact, last week we had an organization join us and we shared what we do as a council and they shared what they do as a council, and we were discussing ways that we can collaborate. In terms of actual students, they probably will not be able to join this year, but there's always opportunities to attend our events, join next year, the years after, so on.
Thank you. I think it's fabulous that you came tonight, and really look forward to hearing from you again. So thank you for coming.
Sorry. Thank you for coming. We appreciate hearing what you have to say and love to hear another month or so what's going on. And then how do people find out about the application? Are you advertising it on the website or?
As each member in our council, we go out physically and we do give them to people or organizations that we think are potential recipients of our grant.
Wonderful, thank you.
We also have shared, Laura and myself and other adults have shared the information through our circles and on the website and publicized with other stakeholders that can share that information widely through the schools and through other organizations.
Tanya?
I just want to, I have seen, I personally have seen Vibha grow up in my neighborhood, and it's good to see that she is in a leadership position in the local youth advisory council. And I really appreciate you guys doing what you do. I know my daughter was there at the youth advisory council 3 years ago, and it's a wonderful opportunity for you to, as youth, to engage and find out, what the community needs, how you can help the community with these grants, and really appreciate you coming out and engaging with us, and we would love to hear back from you in the future.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Else? You had mentioned something about looking at school safety. What are you doing around that? What are your plans?
What happened in December at the Plymouth Canton Educational Park, we do believe that there are measures that our school systems can take to better prepare their students, the staff alike, so that kids are not sitting in anxiety, which is understandable considering those situations, but we do want some sort of system to help improve it.
We are simply trying to bring greater awareness to what could be bettered in the system when coming to such situations.
Yeah, and improve resources such as accessibility to mental health resources and having it tailored to each individual student.
And also having a standardized procedure as to how we combat such situations.
So are you working with how are you approaching that? Are you?
One of their current program objectives is actually to host a needs assembly, a needs assessment assembly in the Plymouth Canton High School. And so one of the goals of that needs assessment is to really hear the youth perspective on school safety and to take that feedback and turn that into a bigger initiative.
Great, when is that? There's a lot of initiatives going on, so I'm just curious, when is your assembly?
Yep, right now they're actually working on a program assessment, and the needs assessment is coming up after that. So our first initiative that we have accomplished this year was board attendance. And then, so we just started working on our program assessment. That will probably be finishing up in the next month or so. And then we're going to start planning the youth needs assessment within the school.
You also spoke of a DE&I initiative. How are you handling that? What are your plans for that?
Currently, it's within the Block Youth and Teen Center, sorry. And every single month, we plan a board and an activity surrounding different events, celebrations, and traditions in different cultures to educate and help youth get involved in different cultures. So it's not just tolerated or accepted, but that diversity is actually celebrated in our community.
And each month we try to bring focus to celebrations which are not very focused upon. And so far, I feel like we've been very successful with that.
That started in October of this year, so every month since October, they have completed that.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for coming and echo a lot of the sentiments of my fellow trustees. And I'm glad that the supervisor asked those questions because we're grappling with a lot of important things in the next, especially this upcoming year and the next couple of years. And it's exciting to see you as young leaders engaging in the exact same conversations and looking at the exact same challenges that we are. And I think that your voice will be key as we move forward. There's a lot of us older folks have ideas about how we think the world should be and how we think we should solve the problems and challenges facing young people today. And I think it would be a mistake if that voice is missing from that process. So I can't wait to see what that needs assessment brings up. And I think that whatever we decide to do at the district level, at the township level, through the community organizations, at leisure services, with the court system, with the public safety department, that we try to take a holistic approach and make sure that it doesn't leave out the voice of those who we are trying to serve and we are trying to provide safety for. So thanks.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions or comments? Well, we hope you stay for the meeting, and I know some of the items might not be of interest in terms of what you've spoken about, but I think sometimes if you listen to the conversations during the public comment section, you might have some more questions for us. Okay? Or let us know what you think even. All right. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. All right, can I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Madam Supervisor, I move that the board adopt the consent calendar as presented, with item C1 kicking us off, consider an increase of $14,500 to the PO number to Fishbeck for the 2021 Water Main Capital Improvement Project. Item C2, consider approving the purchase of 27,400 feet of Type K copper tubing, brass fittings, and stop box and rod from Core and Main. Item C3, consider approving the purchase of 119 water main repair clamps in various sizes from low bidder Core and Main in Canton. Item C4, request budget amendment for the carryover of fiscal year 2021 open purchase orders to fiscal year 2022. And finally, item C5, request approval to deposit additional monies to MERS or MERS to fund the pension liabilities.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Borninski. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you. Next is our general calendar. Item G1, receive and file the Planning Commission 2021 annual report.
Madam Supervisor, I move. Buying time. It's a transition from PDFs. I move to receive and file the Planning Commission 2021 annual report and 2022 work plan, which was adopted by the Planning Commission on February 7, 2022, in accordance with the Michigan Planning Enabling Act.
Motion made by Clerk Segrist, supported by Trustee Snyderman. Thank you. The Michigan Planning Enabling Act, Public Act 33 of 2008, requires the Planning Commission to make an annual written report to the Township Board concerning its operations and the status of planning activities, including recommendations regarding actions by the Township Board related to planning and development. At its meeting on February 7, 2022, the Planning Commission approved the enclosed 2021 annual report and 2022 work plan. Director Smith, do you have anything to add?
No, I have nothing else to add.
Summer?
No, nothing to add.
Are there any questions? It had a lot of good data in it, looking back on 2021. Does anyone have any comments or questions about the data? I know we're moving into our planning sessions this year. Michael?
Yeah, I noticed, so the overall master plan process is 12 to 18 months, and I think we kicked it off in August of last year. How are we feeling about that process?
So the process is still moving along internally. We're looking at the internal subcommittee to start meeting and talk about the goals of the master plan. We're sending out an RFP probably within the next 2 weeks for the actual master plan subcontractor to come in and actually do that. We had a little bit of a hiccup with that process, but this a couple weeks ago. So we're moving forward with creating that RFP and getting that out on the street so we can get a subcontractor in to complete that for us.
Other than that, I think it's great. The update to the trail and sidewalk inventory map, which is huge. It ties right into the board's strategic plan, the You Belong Here plan, where we wanted to focus on closing sidewalk gaps. So seeing that kind of update being done is fantastic. The DDA street scrape and cross access support over on Ford Road that kind of fits in with the existing boulevard plan with MDOT was also fantastic to see. And then obviously doing what we can with our tree programs, which is in jeopardy in some regards from a legal standpoint, but that's great. And then the update to the storm water systems was also important as we've looked at record flooding over the last couple of years with regards to increased in weather. So lots of very important things all falling on planning and MSD. So kudos to all of you for that update and looking at, got a lot of work ahead of us. So good job.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I have a.
Tanya?
Yeah, so as a newer member of the board, I saw that, the commission was planning on some training for us because sometimes, when the new plans come in, we have questions and sometimes you have to call you and so do we know when you're planning for that training?
That's something that we're still trying to organize and put together and figure out who's actually going to conduct that training because we're looking at bringing an outside organization in for that. I can say that internally, though, we're creating some brochures that can go out and we'll be distributing those to all the elected officials that'll walk through the planning process. Aaron, our new planner in the planning division, has been working on those, and those should be coming out probably within the next 2 weeks. It'll just be kind of a resource for everybody to refer back to when you're looking at planning processes and what comes next, why the process works the way it does, and then kind of have a flow chart in there that will also show where a development goes from A to Z.
That would be really great.
Yep. So that will be coming before the formal in-person training from with the guest.
Thank you.
Is there an attempt, if I may, I know in 2017, we had Carol Rosati come in and do an update on kind of the legal requirements through the planning and zoning process. And I believe her firm provided a memo, which kind of put some guidance there over the legalities of making decisions. Frequently we'll get questions from the public that says, why would you allow a grocery store in that building when there's a vacant one across the street? And it's like, because of the law, we can't, we
Sure.
can't wave a magic wand and tell people where to build their businesses. That's not a good, at least not in America. And there are plenty of countries where you can do that, but not in America. But it was very helpful for us to kind of go through that legal memo. And I know I have a copy with all of my publications on my desk, but I don't know if the new board members got a copy of that memo.
I'm going to say no because I've not seen the memo. So I
believe
know
I have it
the
in
planning
electronic
division is all new as well. Myself, so I can do some research through the archives to see where that memo exists, and then make sure that it still applies today. That there's nothing else that needs to be updated in it, and we can reach out to Carol and have her update that and send that back out as well.
It was really helpful for me, especially because, like, they would show they showed specific court cases from like Novi, for example, where a planning commission or the Novi City Council had made decisions where they lacked discretionary power and they were sued. And in the end result was that the community and the taxpayers ended up having to pay millions of dollars to developers because they had violated their Fifth Amendment right. And I thought it was really instructive because it was pretty helpful for me to kind of think about, okay, now I have a better understanding of kind of how these decisions go. And then the long resolutions become you begin to understand kind of why those formal resolutions are brought forward, where it says, you know, this is consistent with the surrounding zoning patterns, it's consistent with the future land use map. You start seeing the legal rationale for why that decision is being recommended by the Planning Commission, and primarily it's because it's consistent with state and federal law, and that's why it's being recommended to be delivered. It's not that we, as an elective body or a government, want this piece of property developed this way. It's that they're legally entitled to develop this parcel, and we don't want to interrupt that process illegally. It was really helpful for me to understand that. When I didn't really get it as a private citizen, it kind of helped me as an elected official get a better understanding of it.
Yeah, I'll do some research. I'll find that and send that back out to everybody.
I believe Kristen Kolb may have been the individual who originated the document from Caro.
Okay.
There's also training through the Michigan Townships Association that we can do too, right?
It's good training also. Yeah, go ahead, Diane.
They have some good books also.
Oh, and in the MTA, in the Michigan Townships Association publication, the gentleman who we're contracting with for a lot of our stuff from McKenna, he's got a nice publication that goes over the basics of planning and land use in it too. He's a little bit of a planning rock star in the state.
I think Jade sent us a couple of those articles.
Oh, you sent that out, okay.
I did, yes.
Yeah,
There
they
you
were
go.
helpful.
And I can say, even just by sitting on the Planning Commission, and Summer can attest to this, I mean, taking the classes, you really do learn a lot. You know, a lot of the intricacies. And so I would, you know, the board members can take them, like Diane and Kate said, they
I
are
took them,
online.
yeah.
And
Yeah, I've been doing it.
Went with Nancy Eggenberger when she was joining planning, yeah.
they're very good classes. Even the public can look online for some, you know, to see how Michigan laws are. Okay. Any other comments? No? Okay, great, thank you. Can I have, let's see, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item G2, consider first reading of an amendment to Appendix A, zoning of the Code of Ordinances regarding Mcpt Michigan Avenue LLC rezoning.
Madam Supervisor, I move to introduce and hold the first reading of the proposed amendment to Appendix A zoning of the Code of Ordinances, the Charter Township of Canton as provided in the attached ordinance, which rezones the subject tax parcels from GI, General Industrial, to C3, Regional Commercial, and to table consideration of the amendment for a second reading on March 8 of 2022.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Snyderman. The applicants propose to rezone 47725 Michigan Avenue parcel as listed, and the south portion of 47575 Michigan Avenue parcel as listed, from GI, General Industrial, to C3, Regional and Commercial. The subject site is located on the south side of Michigan Avenue, west of Beck Road. The parcel at 47575 Michigan Avenue is zoned both GI and C3, and the current portion of this parcel zone GI is approximately 1.5 acres. Therefore, rezoning this parcel to C3 will allow for the entire parcel to be located within one zoning district. If the rezoning is approved, the applicant will submit applications for special land use and site plan review to construct a car wash establishment, which will be reviewed by the Planning Commission and Township Board at that time. Car wash establishments are special land uses in the proposed C3 zoning district. Director Smith, do you want to add anything?
Just to clarify that this is the first step in quite a few that you will see us go through this process. So first step is obviously the rezoning, and then the special land use will come back before the board. And then the final site plan will be coming as well, and also going to the Planning Commission. And I believe Patrick's on the line too, if there was any further questions.
Before the Planning Commission, Summer, do you have anything to add?
I do not. It was pretty standard when we approved this at the Planning Commission.
Or discussion or questions or comments?
Already the third time we've seen this one already, anyway.
True. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes, thank you. Item G3, consider authorization of 2022 FY Specialized Services Operating Assistance Program Agreement with SMART.
Madam Supervisor, I move to approve the fiscal year 2022 Specialized Services Operating Assistance Agreement between SMART and the Charter Township of Canton for $43,377, and to authorize the Township Supervisor, yourself, to sign the contract on behalf of the Township.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Borninski. Thank you. The Township submitted its annual Specialized Services application with SMART to provide funding for the Canton Mobility Transportation Program. SMART has notified the Township that it is eligible for $43,377 under the program from October 1st, 2021 through September 30th, 2022. Canton Leisure Services is requesting board authorization for the Specialized Services Operating Assistance Program agreement with SMART. Director Holmberger, do you want to add anything?
Nothing to add. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions or comments? No? Kate?
I just want to say that this is a really important program, I think, for Canton, and I am very much in favor of supporting this. So.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right, motion passes. Item G4. Consider approval of a purchase order for rental of tents, tables, and chairs for the 2022 Liberty Festival. I know.
Madam Supervisor, I move to waive the bidding process and authorize a purchase order in the amount of $17,500 from the account number listed for rentals for deluxe tents and events, 489 East Huron River Drive in Belleville, Michigan, 48111.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Treasurer Slavens. Thank you. In May of 2018, the Board of Trustees authorized a 5-year agreement for the rental of Liberty Fest tents, tables, and chairs to American Rentals Incorporated, an amount not to exceed $19,500 annually, with funds to be paid from account as listed. Recreation Special Events Rentals. American Rentals notified Leisure Services that they would not be able to fulfill the order in 2022 due to staffing shortages. This resulted in a search for a new provider. Deluxe Tents and Events, located in Belleville, are able to fulfill the remaining portion of tents, tables, and chairs needed. Due to the short notice and need to secure the equipment, Leisure Services is requesting waiving the bidding process and approval of a purchase order in the amount not to exceed $17,500 to cover the quoted amount and any last-minute adjustments that may be required. Director Holmberger, do you want to add anything?
Just that this was certainly an unexpected challenge that we were faced with. We've been with American Rentals for a number of years. Finding this many tents, tables, and chairs with one company is extremely challenging. Actually, already American Rentals can't handle all of the tents, tables, and chairs that we rent. We use a couple of different companies already, but we want to keep it to as few as possible just to avoid confusion and ending up with this company's tents over here and their tables over there and intermingling everything. That can become a challenge. So when we found this out, we got, John in particular, got to calling all of our regular customers, our regular companies, which most of them don't carry the inventory that we need, and also this is graduation time. So it's very difficult to get tents, tables, and chairs at this time of year already, and many of the companies that we spoke with either said that they don't have the ability to do it because they don't ever have that many tents, tables, and chairs available, or they too were having staffing issues, or they were already booked up. So we were able to find this company that was able to accommodate it, had the staffing available, and actually had pricing that was slightly lower than the company that we had awarded the bid to, had the bid prices. So it was kind of a best case scenario for us that we just kind of stumbled into. So that's why we wanted to waive the bidding process. It saves us a little bit of money, and we want to get this contract in place before they start renting those out to every graduation party that can't find a tent, table, and chair.
Any board questions or comments? Stephen?
So this is promising that we're planning on having Liberty Fest for the first time in 3 years. That's good to hear.
Unless you don't let us, we're doing it.
All right.
We have every intention of holding Liberty Fest this year.
Looking forward to it. And
Absolutely.
so have you checked with all your other vendors to make
Yes,
sure? Okay.
yep. They're all very excited for Liberty Fest 2022. I think we're going to see some banner crowds and fantastic turnout.
Thank you.
Friday night, or fireworks on Friday, remember that.
Okay.
Tell everybody you know.
Just, this is exciting, and so I'm wondering if you have dates.
Yes, it is, yes. June 16th through 18th. It's always Father's Day weekend, so if you look up Father's Day, that's Sunday. It's always the 3 days before that.
Anyone else? Tanya?
Yeah, and not about the rental, but I understand this year's Liberty Fest, you're doing something different on Saturday night. You have a different cultural type of event.
We are
A multi-
working on the details of that right now. We haven't finalized exactly what we're doing. Oh, maybe we have more information that I don't even know about yet. I'm about to find out what we're doing.
Because I heard it on the Cultural Commission meeting, and I thought,
Yeah.
since Laura is here, she can share it.
So we've partnered with Jack and Jill. Right now, they're like specializing in the Ypsilanti kind of area, but they're wanting to work and do services here in Canton. So we are meeting regularly with them to plan a Juneteenth event on Saturday night of the festival. So it will start around 3:30 with kind of a stage program. They give out awards to local youth. We're going to have the Oak Park Marching Band there, as well as some of the colleges doing step performances. And then recommended by them was New Soul, which will be performing from 5 to 7. And then we've also booked Thornetta Davis that will perform afterwards from 8 to 10. And then we're working with them, it's kind of still in progress, is getting Black-owned businesses as a part of our food options and marketplace for that night and potentially the whole festival if they're interested in being there the whole time. So it's pretty exciting. And then like Greg had mentioned, the fireworks then will fall on Friday night. Just because, knock on wood, we've never had to have a rain delay in the 28 odd years, but then this allows us that if there's issues on Friday to be able to then still show the fireworks on Saturday night.
Very exciting.
Exciting to hear. Thank you.
Yeah,
Saturday, that sounds like fun.
Uh-huh.
It's gonna be a good day.
I know.
Going to be a great weekend.
No rain allowed.
The township supervisor is always in charge of the weather for Liberty
Take
Fest.
no rain, no rain. Any other questions or comments? All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you. Item G5, consider request to temporarily relocate the Motorola dispatch radio console during the dispatch renovation and an associated 2022 E911 budget amendment.
Madam Supervisor, I move to approve Motorola Solutions to relocate the Motorola dispatch and radio console, including furniture, in the amount of $29,504, and to approve the attached amendment to the 2022 E911 budget to accommodate this project.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Seegers, supported by Trustee Borninski. The police and fire departments are requesting approval to temporarily relocate the Motorola dispatch radio console from the first floor to the second floor to accommodate construction during the dispatch renovation. Motorola Solutions, the sole source provider, has quoted the move at $29,504, which includes relocating all dispatch and radio console equipment, along the disassembling and reassembling of furniture for the 4-position console workstations. E911 funds are permitted and will be utilized for this project. In addition, an amendment to the 2022 E911 budget is being proposed for this expense. Chief Bao and Chief Stockline, do you want to add anything?
We need this move. It's sole source because it's very intricate work. The electrical components, this is the main communication channel for police and fire, so it has to be done precisely. So.
I would just say it's been a long time coming, so we're looking forward to it.
Yes, it has. Thank you. Any board questions or comments?
I have one specific question. How will you maintain continuity of service during the transition?
So the first move, 2 dispatch consoles will move into the EOC where we met today. Then there 2 will maintain down in that area. Then once those are up and running up there, we'll move the other 2 up to that EOC that you were in today. Then all 4 will be running. Then the next day, 2 will be moved into the area just to the north where you were setting. Then the same process will be completed. What happens in between is the furniture is getting moved into that temporary dispatch center for probably 6 to 8 months.
Okay,
So, and we have backups for any problems. Obviously, we have coordinated this many times during weather issues or any types of anything that's went down in our 911 center where we can flip over to Plymouth Township, send personnel there, and do our dispatch from there.
And as an additional backup, we also have our mobile command post that we could dispatch out of as well. So we got it kind of covered in
like
3
you've got
different
it all
ways.
planned out.
I expect the board to see some of the bids come back around April 26th. So we'll work with finance and go through that process.
What,
ahead.
when is the anticipated work?
May, June, based on approval from the board. So we'll have to work with finance to get and our partners in architecture to get the bids out and go through the finance process.
I got the dates right here, so I think on the 9th, they're looking to issue the drawings for the bidding. 15th, there's going to be the contractor pre-bid meeting. That's kind of where we lay out the information for them. 22nd will be last day for contractor questions. And then the 31st, we're looking to have bids due. So that'll go through Mike Shepard and finance as well.
Thank you. Anyone else?
You'll ask what I was going to ask.
Oh, okay, okay. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Great, we're on our way. Craig, would you mind changing the view on the cameras to the speaker view for the inside? Thank you. Or is on, oh, it is on speaker? Oh. Maybe Trevor's controlling it back there. Okay, thank you. Oh, well. Thank you. Item G6, consider approving a new fire inspector position and an associated amendment to the 2022 fire budget.
Madam Supervisor, I move to approve a new fire inspection position in the fire department and additionally to approve the attached amendment to the 2022 fire budget.
Motion made by Clerk Seegers, supported by Treasurer Slavens. The fire department is requesting a new fire inspector position be approved for assignment in the fire prevention unit. This position is needed for the unit to keep up with the increased demands of plan reviews and building permit approvals and inspections being created by the ongoing construction in Canton. The position of fire inspector is also responsible for inspections of existing commercial buildings and prevention programs in the community. This position would be posted internally in accordance with the current IAFF Local 2289 bargaining unit contract. An amendment to the 2022 fire budget is also included in this request for 9 months of salary and benefits estimated at $112,959. Chief Stockline, do you want to add anything?
I would just say that this was part of those budget request forms that we had sent over to you so that you could review that. But like Director Smith was just saying earlier, you know, we know that there's a record number of permits that came in last year, and we're just trying to keep up with that. One thing that I would mention is that we can reassess this position in the coming years as we see some building growth slow down, because we will have some retirements coming out of that as well. So it's kind of like a temporary spot, but consider a permanent spot. But we can reevaluate it in a few years. Just get us caught up to where we need to be.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thank you. Motion passes. Item G7, consider approval of the updated new part-time wage scale. Long one.
Ready for that executive summary, everybody. This is going to be a good one. Madam Supervisor, I move to approve the new proposed part-time seasonal variable wage scale for all current and new hire leisure services positions to go into effect on April 1, 2022, and to approve a step increase annually effective January 1 to those employees who have A, worked a minimum of 250 hours in the prior year, and B, were hired prior to October 1, and to approve the scale be tied to the annual wage increase applied to the non-union classified employee known as the merit wage scale.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Treasurer Slavens. In December of 2021, Canton's Board of Trustees approved an extension of the $2.50 per hour wage incentive for all current and newly hired part-time, seasonal, and variable employees in levels A through 9 through March 31st, 2022. Additionally, the board also approved extending the referral incentive to any current Canton Township employee who recruits a part-time seasonal variable employee to receive $100 per employee. The purpose of this extension was to provide time to evaluate the program and investigate all options for recruitment and retention, including a new compensation package. Township staff have worked across departments to develop a new part-time wage scale to meet the changing needs of the workforce. The proposed new scale has been simplified with a reduced number of levels, 11 down to 4, raises the minimum wage per hour from $10 an hour to $13 an hour, and reclassifies current positions in order to attract new applicants while ensuring higher retention rates. After much evaluation and review, the newly proposed wage scale is anticipated to significantly address some of the ongoing challenges that have become increasingly impactful over the past several years. In addition to the new wage scale, staff are recommending that the scale be tied to the annual wage increase applied to the non-union classified employee merit wage scale, which was 2% in 2022. By applying these incremental changes and increases across the scale each year, it will allow the wage scale to continue maintaining relevance while helping to avoid requiring larger, more impactful revision in the future. This is a long one. Current employees will be matched to the wage in the new scale that is equal to or greater than their current wage with the $2.50 per hour wage incentive. Those employees who are paid above the maximum of their level will be considered a legacy pay at their current rate and not decreased. The new scale would go into effect by April 1st, 2022. Annually, those employees who have worked a minimum of 250 hours in the prior year and B, were hired prior to October 1st, will continue to receive a step increase annually effective January 1st. As has been the case previously, those receiving a promotion to a job to a higher level will automatically go to the step that provides an increase. Select positions which require a professional certification or specialty skills such as inspectors will have the starting wage established by a timely market analysis to attract a more favorable pool of candidates. Based on the average number of hours worked between 2017 and 2019, which represents the ideal hours we hope to achieve, the annual financial impact for this wage scale increase is estimated between $500,000 to $900,000. A budget amendment will be forthcoming at a future board meeting once a true 2022 impact can be determined, as we do not anticipate reaching that number of hours in 2022. You can also see this is one of the board goals, strategic plan goals, organized climate and culture, which is one of our actions. Director Holmberger, do you want to add anything?
Well, I'd say that the executive summary length is usually directly tied to the amount of effort to get to the end recommendation. So you can see we put a lot of effort into getting to this end recommendation here. We had to work with a lot of folks to get this end result here. We started off, obviously we worked for a long time under the $2.50 an hour incentive. We were able to kind of stem the flow of part-time employees from exiting employment, but we were not seeing a significant increase. We saw a slight increase, but not a significant increase in our applicants, and then even more so in those applicants turning into employees, because we were seeing a lot of applicants that would not respond to requests for interviews, and then if they did respond, they weren't showing up for their interviews, and we would maybe 1 in 10 would actually turn into an employee or less. So we're still currently just in leisure services about 50 employees short of being fully staffed. In the next 2 months, we're going to need to hire another 200 employees for our seasonal positions. So we need 250 more people in the next 2 months, and we haven't seen much uptick, so that we were really motivated to try and come up with something that we know this is going to be significantly expensive to the township, but we also know we can't operate without these employees. They're 80 to 90% of our workforce in leisure services, so it's highly important for us to have these employees. I know other departments, while they may not have as high of a percentage of employees, they have the employees that they do have are critical to their workforce. So it's important to them to have quality employees that are applying as well. So we started off with doing a survey of our part-time employees, which is included in your packet. I do have that available if we want to pull anything up and look at that. So that was really beneficial to us to see what was valuable to them. Some surprise information, but that will really help us to market some of the surprises where how valuable they felt a Summit membership was, and discounts on leisure services programs and those sorts of things. So we've in the past provided access to the Summit. All they had to do was bring their employee badge and they could have access to the Summit. But we're gonna tweak that a little bit. And as a full-time employee, you actually fill out a form and we put you into the computer and you have a membership number and a full membership. So we're going to do that same thing for our part-time employees and give them the opportunity, if they have a family or a spouse or whatever, we're going to allow them to buy up to a couples membership and just pay the difference, or family membership and pay the difference, so that they can have that. And at the end of their season, if it's a seasonal employment, we're not going to just automatically terminate their membership. It doesn't cost us anything to keep them on, allow them to keep their membership going. And as long as they end on good terms, they keep their membership, they can keep using it in the off season. Hopefully they come back next year because they think, wow, this place is great. They let me keep my membership. Some no-cost items to help us retain and hopefully recruit, because they'll tell their friends, wow, what a great place this is to work, right? So some of those things that we're looking to do. So that was a big piece. And then consolidating, that was a big thing, getting from a multi-layered wage scale down to where we have 4 levels. And then there's only 3 steps now. So it kind of brings the gap from entry to the top of the scale a little bit closer, kind of brings up the bottom without pushing the top as high. So there are some folks that will see more of a benefit than others, but that's really where we needed to see the biggest increase in wage was at the bottom of our wage scale for our entry-level folks to get people in the door. That's, so we didn't just say we want to give everybody $5 and then just take that and blanket, put it across the board. We were really trying to be intentional about applying the increases where we needed them without just saying we're just going to give everybody the same thing, because while that would have been great for everybody, it wasn't necessarily what we needed to do to accomplish our goals. We've also given everyone a path to $15 an hour. That was a board stated goal, that we wanted to have a minimum wage of $15 an hour. Level 1, which is typically our positions where those are really the only positions other than lifeguard, which has a specialized training, that a 16-year-old can apply for. Doesn't have to be under 18. We do have other folks that apply for those jobs, but a 16-year-old can apply for their first job in school for those jobs that are at the level 1 on the new wage scale, start at $13 an hour and work their way to $15 an hour by the time they're 18. Every other job starts at $15 an hour or more. So that was kind of playing along, or not playing along, but achieving or doing our best to achieve the board goal without just shooting for the moon and trying, if we started that at $15 an hour, the whole wage scale pushes up and gets that much more expensive. So, well, understanding that it is a significant investment, trying to be responsible and not just starting at 15 and blanket increasing everybody else the same. That was kind of our philosophy. I have things like the attachments that are included in your board packet that are readily accessible. I can pull them up, talk through any questions that you have. Happy to do it, answer any questions that you have, and go from there.
Right, I'd just like to say that this was a big effort. I mean, it was really important that we show our employees that they're valuable to us, as well as retaining the services for our residents. But all the directors had input, including being spearheaded by Deputy Supervisor Joe Halver. So if anyone else has anything they'd like to add to that, because this was a big effort. I mean, this took months and months, and it went up and down, and the survey was a great idea, and I think the employees really enjoyed the survey, and we got some really good information. So does anyone else want to comment on anything? Joe, or no?
I don't know how to use this thing. Am I on?
Yeah, you're on.
Okay. No, I just want to thank everyone who participated in the process, particularly Greg, John, and Jade, who were very active in the committee that was reviewing our part-time wages and kind of, going back and forth with different positions and different levels and different steps that employees were currently at, and trying to decide, what was kind of the fairest and best way to do this. Everybody did a great job with it, so that's all. Thanks.
Thank you. And Wendy got to cost all of the solutions.
I was
they
going to
came
say,
up with.
please include Director Trumbull in that as well. She put a lot of effort
Yes.
into this, and then had to suffer through me throwing some last-minute changes in there that threw her calculations off, and she had to go back and recalculate every time anything changed. So that was a lot of stress on top of her when she had a lot of other things going on. So we certainly appreciate it. Wasn't I certainly couldn't have come up with all this information on my own. So she certainly deserves that recognition as well.
Any comments or questions by the board? Michael?
I recently saw a quote that said, people, or we as humans, often focus on the urgent instead of the important. And I've thought about that quote, and I've internalized that quote a lot. Especially the last couple of years, it feels like we bounce from crisis to crisis to crisis to crisis to crisis. We never take a breath and think about where the heck we're going and how we're going to get there and how we can get there most efficiently and how we can bring as many people with us as we go there. What's interesting about this is that you did both the urgent and the important. The $250 wage incentive was really a creature of necessity. And we had this, we were hemorrhaging people. The Great Resignation is what it's been called, right? People leaving the workforce and not going back. This is the first time in probably every person here's lifetime where people who work have more bargaining power than the people who employ them. You can choose to go anywhere you want to go to get a job. And how people handle that is an interesting insight into their character, their philosophy, and their values. Some people will tell you people just don't want to work anymore. You'll hear a whole host of things about values around, or judgments around, why people are more selective about the jobs they want to do and where they want to work. When I see this proposal, it is about values. One, you reached out to the employees and you asked them, what do you want? That right there tells me that you value their input in the process. It was a collaborative effort amongst multiple departments, which tells me that you value collaboration and teamwork, even if it all fell on Wendy at the last minute. Sorry about that, Wendy. And it's consistent with the board values, that if you work for the people of Canton Township, you deserve to make a reasonable wage. That's huge. A proposal like this that will get people to a $15 minimum wage in Canton Township, and to do it in a way that doesn't break the bank, is both fiscally responsible, but it's also smart when it comes to recruitment, and communicates to people how we feel about them. I cannot believe we had 11 steps for part-time positions. That is the most intricate and complicated part-time employee system I have ever seen in my entire life. This simplification feels clean, and I love it. So it was interesting to see that people really, really, really liked the idea of a summit membership, which completely makes sense. Or golf at Pheasant Run. It's like so interesting that people want that more than childcare. It's like the only group of people that would rather have access to the gym than childcare. But they're part-time positions, so that kind of makes sense. You know, they're not interested in retirement. They're not interested in health insurance or those kind of benefits. They want the wages, and they want to be able to go to the summit, which I can appreciate. But you listened, and you know, you put your money where your mouth is, and I like that proposal. So thanks for all this work, because it was done urgently. We had to extend this $2.50 kind of across the board increase that we put in, and you had to get this proposal in time for us to implement this. If we do tonight, that was a Herculean effort, and I'm grateful for it. So, more importantly, I am excited. I am excited that we are communicating to the people that work at Canton Township that we view them as an investment. We view them as our most important resource.
Thank you. Summer?
I just want to say thank you and congratulations to everyone who worked on this. I'm so happy that we are finally making this happen. As it was stated before, it was a board goal, and so I'm glad that it's finally coming to fruition. And I just want to say thank you also for coming up with other ways to incentivize employees besides just increasing pay. And I think the summit membership is a great idea. And I love the survey. I loved reading the responses in the survey. So thank you for putting that into the board packet.
Thank you. Tanya?
Yeah, I concur with what Summer and Michael have said, and I was like, you know, this was probably the longest item in the board packet to read on the Sunday night, but it was very interesting to see the survey response, and I really appreciate the leadership for putting together the survey, because you understand what people want, and it's not just, and you hear some of the frustrations in the comments, but at the same time you understand what other perks people are looking for apart from livable wage. So I really thank everybody who came together to do this. It's a good start, and I think this shows that Canton Township is investing in our leisure services, in our other government employees, and that way we are investing in the community. So thank you.
Diane?
I'm just going to kudos everybody, and I want to thank you all so much, because I know it was a heavy lift and a lot of work, and I appreciate all the work that you put into this and the thoughtfulness. So, you know, thank all of you.
Stephen?
Thank you, and echoes everything in terms of the work that you guys put in. This is reflection of the times that we live in now. This is what we're up against in the marketplace, and it's good to see us becoming competitive in the marketplace. And I know it's something that had to be done, but it's something that we as a board that we're encouraging anyway. So I'm glad to see it happen. The one question I have is, and I'm sorry if I missed it in the information that was provided at the beginning of the RBA, but there were a couple of levels in the previous scale that were higher in wage than now we have. And I didn't understand what happened to people who were in those wages. One, you mentioned in the executive summary, the inspectors will be based on market, but some of the others like fitness instructors or the lead or the assistant golf pros and things like that are already higher than the top of this scale. So what happens with them?
Correct. So the assistant golf pro position is going to be handled in the same way as the inspectors or several positions that are listed under that specialized, certified, higher educated. But there are a handful of positions in the level 4. If you were previously, I believe it was a level 8 or 9 that fits into the new level 4, where you are potentially paid currently with your $2.50 an hour higher than the top of the new top of the level 4. So those employees will maintain their pay as they are now. So if they're paid $1 higher than the top of the new scale, they'll be considered legacy employees, and they'll maintain their current pay.
Okay.
And annually, when we do the merit, or not merit, but the cost of living increase, they would still get that cost of living increase, so they will not, nobody in this wage scale will see a decrease to the pay they're getting today.
Okay, thank you.
I think everybody else said it better than I could right now, but echo what everyone said, and just thank you.
Great. Yeah, I mean, 100 part-time positions were left unfilled last summer, which reduced the number of programs and services that could have been offered to the community. So this also helps the community in many ways. So thank you very much. I know just watching everything that happened as it metamorphoses. I mean, it was a struggle and to get there, but you guys did a great job, guys and gals. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you all for your apparent support and challenging us to get this down to 4 levels. I know Joe and I went back and forth many times on that. We were strong proponents of more levels, but we found our way down to get here. We found a way to make it work. I think it works well. I think this says a lot to our employees, our staff, and our current and future employees will be very welcoming of this new wage scale. So I think it does say a lot about Canton Township and about our leadership. So thank you all very much. Thanks to all the staff that put in a ton of work into this. I'm extremely happy and extremely relieved that we're here at this today. And I think the hope is that with tying this now, that if not many people, if any couple of us maybe have been here way back when the part-time wage scale was tied to the merit scale way back many years ago. And the hope is that by doing that, tying it to the merit cost of living, will avoid another large increase in the future by having small incremental increases. We do that with our prices of our programs. By doing that with the wages, we're not frozen for 5 or 6 years and then have to come back with another large increase because we fall behind everybody else. Hopefully we kind of keep up or stay just a little bit ahead of the competition. So thank you.
Thanks. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Nay? All those opposed? Great, motion passes. Item G8, and more good news. Consider approval of appointment of ITI Director.
Madam Supervisor, I move to approve the appointment of Victor Abegbu to Information Technology and Innovation Director effective March 7, 2022.
Support?
Motion made by Clerk Segrist, supported by Trustee Snyderman. The Canton Board of Trustees awarded a contract to the Novak Consulting Group Reptalis in February of 2021 for an organizational assessment. Out of that assessment came the recommendation to create a standalone ITI department, led by an experienced IT director. On August 14th, the Board of Trustees approved the creation of an ITI department and ITI director position. The formal name for the created position became Information Technology and Innovation Director. Victor Abegbu was selected as the top candidate to fill the new Information Technology and Innovation Director position with Canton Township. Mr. Abegbu holds a Master of Library and Information Science degree from Wayne State University and comes with proven leadership experience, having held an Assistant Director of Information System position for the last 10 years. We have Victor here in the audience. Hi, Victor. Welcome. So does anyone want to add anything or ask any questions? No? Diane?
I'll just say welcome. We're very excited, and I know we have a lot for you. So, and I see you graduated from Wayne State, so that's great. So welcome aboard.
Stephen?
Yes, welcome also. It was a pleasure meeting you through the process. I was able to sit in the final round of the interviews, and you were far above and beyond the best candidate, and I'm so glad that you were agreed to come on and be our ITI director. Looking forward to your leadership in this area. And for the last time, I'll thank Director Trumbull for the leadership she's shown in terms of about managing our IT department for many years. So I'm sure you're both going to work well together.
Summer.
So Trustee Ganguly, Director Trumbull, and I, and along with Barb Roulette from Human Resources, participated in the first round of interviews for the ITI director, and we were all really impressed with Victor when he came before us. So I'm very excited that you will be in this position, and as Treasurer Slavin stated, there is a lot of work waiting for you. And thank you to Director Trumbull for all that she's done for the technology department previously, and I know that she'll be a great support to you moving forward.
Michael.
Victor, I've yet to meet you, but I have heard some amazing things. So you have a lot to live up to. Your reputation is getting ahead of you. But no, not only the fact that through your resume you've been committed to the same organization for quite some time, but the innovative projects that you've accomplished and while there is very exciting. It's very exciting in that regard. My first elective office was on the local library board, and I will tell you, not to make my cheering you about me, I apologize for that, but libraries run the world, and they are one of the most revolutionary things, right? And you have done a lot of good work for the city of Detroit, and obviously you are very committed to that organization, and I'm very excited to see what you do here in Canton Township. So thank you for choosing us.
Another thing with Victor that I think was impressive is that while he does have his ITI background, as Michael said, your work with being able to work outside the library, with connecting the library with Wayne State Research and jumping on backbones of, infrastructure, that is something we're really going to need as we develop Ford Road and develop Michigan Avenue. So that expertise is going to help us not only internally but externally to our technology plan. So that's really great about that. So would you like to say anything, Victor? You can come up to the podium, and sorry to put you on the spot. But
Madam Supervisor and members of the board, I want to, and certainly the leadership team, I want to thank you for entrusting this opportunity to me. It's really not a matter of me anymore. It's a matter of us collectively, making sure that we drive our township forward to the 22nd century. Indeed, I'm not one of those who shy away from challenges, but at the same time, you embrace it, make the best out of it, because inside of it is also opportunities for everyone to grow. And so once again, I thank you for entrusting me with this wonderful opportunity, and I look forward to rolling up my sleeves, getting to work, and making Canton a place where those two people will graduate and they won't run away, but they will stay.
great, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Welcome. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Welcome, Victor.
Welcome, Victor.
We're going to have to squeeze
I
another
have something
chair
going on
over
my computer. Can you come
And
take
thank
a look
you,
at
as
this real
Stephen
quick?
said, thank you, Wendy, for all your work with IT. You will be passing on a lot of information. All right, thank you. Item G9 was one of the add-ons. Consider granting the clerk authority to engage special records counsel. Sorry? Okay.
Reverse there. All right. Madam Supervisor, I move to grant the clerk authority to engage legal counsel and support their authority to assign a letter of retainer and direct the relationship, and to approve the attached budget amendment.
Support?
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Snyderman. Given the increase in FOIA requests and the creation of a centralized records position, the clerk's office requires specialized counsel to assist in these areas. Ann M. Cernick is a shareholder with Foster, Swift, Collins, and Smith PC and has come highly recommended. Her entire career is focused on the representation of municipalities and public entities. Ann has extensive experience in drafting and reviewing ordinances and policies, serving as general counseling clients on Freedom of Information Act and Open Meeting Act issues, and working with communities on millage and Michigan campaign finance issues. Ann also has expertise in library law. Clerk Seekers, did you want to add anything?
Just found another person from the library to get involved at the township here, so. But no, nothing else to discuss. Kind of just looking at getting some additional assistance with regard to FOIA interpretation and best ways to kind of handle that. And then, as I said before, with the records position in particular, just kind of trying to figure out a way as we begin to create that centralized process. We posted the position. We had 43 individuals apply. That has not been whittled down yet, but super excited about that centralized records position. And then we'll be engaging Ann in the creation of that position, kind of figuring out how we're going to implement a centralized records process so that the clerk's office could be a resource for other departments and divisions in cataloging records, getting rid of redundant records, ensuring compliance with federal and state law. And I've already talked exhaustively about all of those individual things at other meetings.
Thank
So
you.
that's about it.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Kate?
Yeah, I thought I remembered, and you just alluded to it just now, that there was an increase in FOIA requests. So I was wondering if you could just speak to that a little bit about, you know, approximately how much it's increased.
So I don't have the specific numbers in front of me. The township, if you remember in 2017, the township was highlighted by Detroit Public Radio for an analysis they did of the Freedom of Information Act for about 153 municipalities in southeast Michigan. It was determined that Canton Township was the single most easy community to submit a FOIA request. Our response time was 35 minutes, which was the fastest response time of all 153 communities. And we did it free of charge, and we presented the information digitally. So in some ways, we might be a victim of our own success. We make information accessibility a goal. It's a goal of this board. It's a goal of myself as clerk. And so in that process, we may be incentivizing FOIA requests. On the other hand, what you're seeing right now is FOIA is a beautiful, simple, cheap tool for attorneys to engage in outside of discovery. Almost every document, unless exempted, in this building is a public document. And so in lieu of formal litigation and going through the discovery process, you can kind of bombard an organization with FOIAs. Now, most FOIAs we get happen on the public safety records side, and they have their own separate FOIA administrator who reports to the FOIA coordinator. And we have a beautiful centralized software program that kind of orchestrates that whole thing, makes redacting stuff very simple for routine FOIA requests. So we churn out a lot of those. And then the second type of FOIA we get would be building, mostly building plans and things like that. We do get random FOIA requests around election stuff right now because of kind of the hot button that elections play. And we get a lot of other like kind of interesting FOIAs, but I believe, you know, I'm not even gonna take a guess at it because I don't remember the exact increase or the exact number, but we do we receive about as many FOIAs in a month as most jurisdictions will receive in a year. And part of that's because we're the 9th largest municipality. We have a large tax base. Whenever a large developer wants to purchase a commercial property, they will FOIA all plans, all site plans, all permits that have been pulled on that property. They want to basically find out what's under the ground, what are they buying. It's kind of routine practice. And those ones are pretty simple for redacting. Where it gets challenging is if we do get into like interpretations of law that require unnecessary redactions and things like that. It can prolong the process, it can increase the likelihood of litigation, and it can overburden my staff with the concern of redacting. But I don't have the exact increase in FOIA numbers. It is logged in the FOIA software, and I should have come prepared with that, so shame on me.
Well, I can appreciate that. I think you mentioned it before, perhaps when you were discussing your modernization study, that you did something like that. So.
Might be in my presentation. I can go back and give that presentation again.
No, that's okay.
Start at the beginning, please.
Send it out.
As punishment.
All right, any other questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you. Item G10, which is the one in the last add-on we had. Consider appointment to the Canton Tax Board of Review.
Madam Supervisor, I move that the Canton Board of Trustees approve the appointment of Lewis Smith to the Canton Tax Board of Review for a 2-year term to expire on March 1 of 2024.
Motion made by Clerk Segrist, supported by Treasurer Slavens. A current Board of Review member is unable to fulfill their duties due to a conflict with their job. The supervisor is recommending Lewis Smith, who interviewed in late 2021 and was approved by the committee to fill this new vacancy. The Tax Board of Review members are appointed to 2-year terms. Because work for this board begins in March, the term expiration date has been set at 3/1/24. So as it does say, we did lose somebody who had just been put on, and so we do have the Board of Review meeting in March, so we had to push this forward as quick as possible so that we could get the new member also trained this week, starting his training. Any questions or comments?
I'll just make a quick comment. I appreciate people stepping up to do board of review. It's a pretty lengthy thing, only a few times a year, and so I appreciate Mr. Smith stepping up to the plate. So, welcome.
Thank you. Anyone else? No? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Great. The next item is public comment. So the public comment, we're now at the point designated for public comment. Anyone who wishes to address the board is invited to at this time. We appreciate that individuals please identify themselves by name and community of residence while limiting the comments to 3 minutes. It's an opportunity for members of the public to inform the board about their views and provide input for us to take into the decision-making process. At this time, we won't do questions and answers. If you seek information about the administration of the government or looking for a response, follow up with the township staff on particular issues after the meeting or during business hours. So we have, go ahead, public comment.
George Miller. Some of the issues has been brought up before. I'd like to know the environmental impact on the flame on the dumps here. I mentioned that. Also, the township owns a facility behind El Georges. It's been abandoned. And I'd like to know the tree planting procedure for that. I mentioned that the last meeting. In my humble opinion, I'd like to know when the county is going to patch the potholes on Sheldon Road from Michigan Avenue to Palmer. Seems like it should be a safety hazard. I imagine the police department's been out there. Same way with dirt on Van Born Road, where the dump comes out there. It's been bad in the weather here. And the same way out on Ridge Road. I'd like to know if they've looked into that. Also, in my humble opinion, I'd like to know smart I'm underneath the impression, the contract for that, they don't go over to St. Joe's over in Ypsilanti or Ann Arbor or U of M. We have a van here that has a hoist, and maybe, I mentioned it before, from 10 o'clock in the morning to 2 o'clock in the afternoon, that could be back. It's quite expensive for senior citizens to hire someone to do that and contract it out. It's quite expensive. Gets into their pension. I'd like to know how, if we're met with the county or anyone's done that on cleaning ditches along Sheldon Road and Palmer Road. They haven't been cleaned. I've been here since 1980, in the last 40 years, since we're having a flooding problem. Okay, that's all I have.
Thank you. Any other public comment in the room? Go ahead.
I might have time to help me out.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, the tears along the summer are really bad. I feel the board is protecting on it. We need to have it done soon before someone gets hurt and killed, and it was just more.
I did tell him to make sure that you knew I didn't put him up to this.
Is he saying how great you are, John?
No good deed goes unpunished, but he's mentioned, I don't know how much you got to that, but he's mentioning the paths around the summit, about getting some attention to them before somebody gets hurt on that, from the accessibility around the summit and the paths in the park.
Before someone gets hurt and killed, then it would take a lot more.
Yep.
And our message to you, Martin, about the resetting in the apartment.
So, yeah, David and Maureen live in Uptown Apartments, and they've requested in the past that their apartments get recycling services for the complex. So would like to see that happen.
Yeah, our apartments get fill up really fast.
Yeah. The dumpsters fill up pretty bad as it is now, so.
All right.
Thank you.
Any other public comment in the room? Okay, I will go online to our attendees. Any public comment? I see some of our employees are on public comment. Public comment. No online public comment. All right, thank you. Our Youth Advisory Council, I don't know, are they in the lobby there still? No, they've left? Okay, I didn't know if they wanted any comments. Okay. We will move now on to board comments. I'll start with you, Kate.
I don't really have anything tonight, so.
Stephen?
No, just a happy 2/22/22 to everyone out there. And happy Tuesday on 2/22/22.
Diane? No? Michael?
We are currently almost finished with our recommendation for the precinct realignment going forward. Our redistricting auditor has been doing all types of really good work, so I'm super excited about that. We have been going over locations today. We will have a recommendation, so I will be calling an election commission meeting soon to the two trustees over there. And I do believe, even though it's not required by law, we should bring it to the entire board as well, and then do some promotions as we talked about. I know Trustee Foster had brought up the need to kind of get out in the public about kind of the changes. And the changes will be relatively drastic to how elections have been done in Canton Township in the past. If you'd all like, I can make one of my famous presentations about it. I would be more than happy to do that. But that's going along really good. I'm really excited about it too. And I'll stop talking about it now because if I had just gotten started, I'd have been been talking more longer. And then what David was talking about is we had a little side meeting a couple weeks ago with Maureen, and we talked about trying to create a both a commercial and a potential like a rental recycling program, which is something the board had talked about this time last year. At some point, we pivoted to composting as our primary focus, but it looks like we might be pivoting away from that. So might be something to kind of kick up again. I'm sure, you know, Director Smith is probably like, shut up, Mike. But anyway, but yeah, that was something, and when it got brought up, I was like, oh my gosh, that's right. We had put that down on paper that we wanted to move in that direction. And, you know, lots of urgent things jump up and send us in different directions. But that was good to put that back on the table, I thought. Other than that, things are just kind of we're rocking and rolling in the clerk's office and having fun, getting ready for this 2022 election, trying to get the redistricting done, to get that notices out there. And that's pretty much it. You know, there will be a change because we'll be doing the back parking lot change this year. The drive-up drop box will be in a different location. I don't know when the timeline is for that, if it's before the August election or if it's between the August and November election, but that will be a minor readjustment for motorists and for voters who choose to vote an absentee ballot and like to submit it in that beautiful little drop box that we had purchased. So that's pretty much it. Dog parks shut off if you didn't get your fob renewed. Now's the time to get your dog park memberships updated over at our dog park on Denton Road. If you go there and your fob doesn't work, it's because you did not pay for a 2022 dog park membership. It is not because it's broken. So just come on in and we'll get you all set up, or you can do it online.
Great, thank you. Summer?
I don't have anything.
Tanya?
So we had our Cultural Commission meeting, our first one this year, on 10th of February, and I have brought up the discussion about documenting the history of Canton since the 1960s, because we really, Bill from Canton Historical Society was unavailable that day, but the idea was received with a lot of enthusiasm, and I'm looking forward to working with the Cultural Commission, the Historical Society, and the board, and probably the Canton Cable to document, you know, the history, talking to the elders in the community, and having some sort of history documented so that our future generations can know about all the different people that have lived in Canton. So just wanted to bring that up.
Great, thank you. A couple of things that we heard. We are coming to an end with Black History Month, February, so happy Black History Month, everyone. Another thing that I had heard from the public comment was the environmental impact on the landfill. We have submitted a request to Republic. For the Republic landfill to EGLE. Hopefully they'll be coming back with the measurements, and we can talk to them about the process of what they measure and whether they're, and that includes the methane plumes, which I know was asked about before also. So there has been a request to EGLE on that. I also encourage residents to continue. You are our eyes and ears out there, as well as employees. Whenever you see a pothole or something, or a road breakage, you know, call 1-888-ROAD CREW. That's really important to do. I know we've been communicating that, and I know it's frustrating. While it's still winter, we can do nothing more than put patching in right now. We do have construction coming up in the spring, but please continue to call 1-888-ROAD CREW. Also, the van, in terms of going, we've sent some information on that a couple times already. That's so the block vans cannot go out of the jurisdiction due to liability and also availability to our students as they go to the different schools. So we cannot take the vans for the block outside of Canton. And the paths around the summit and the potholes in the park, we are looking at that. Definitely accessibility is important, so we will continue to monitor that. And if you see that, like we call 188-ROAD CREW, you know, let us know if you see something in the path that needs to be fixed, and we can patch that also. as well as our crews out there looking. And that's in a recycling service, like you had said, doing it. We know that apartment buildings are privately owned, and so are businesses, but we will be, trying to encourage them to also recycle as we move forward. Anybody else want to add anything? Director, staff? No? All right, great. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Treasurer Slavens. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The meeting is adjourned. Have a great week.